All right, everyone, so here's my setup. I'll come in closer here. So I've got two wall-mounted Klipsch speakers here. So one here, one over here. And then, of course, I have in the ceiling, I got two Klipsch-mounted speakers there. And then I have my sub in here. Of course, my receiver and everything's down in here. Right here is my center channel. So my setup is Klipsch. The house, when we got it, had Klipsch speakers in the wall. So, I thought, well, let me just keep everything the same. And this one here, with the guard, has two 6.5-inch drivers. And of course, the center tweeter. This thing is massive. It weighs like 35 pounds. But this thing adds so much dialogue to my listening experience. Now I want to kind of talk about that briefly. So regardless of what system you go with, whether it's a Klipsch, a Polk, a Bose, a Sonos, whichever system you go with, or maybe Martin Logan, fantastic, Martin Logans are great. Whichever system you decide to go with, I want you to just kind of keep a couple of things in mind. The speaker that I think that is equally as important as the subwoofer is the center channel. The center channel provides all the dialogue. So if you have a 5.1 system and your center channel is not strong enough, you're going to be drowned out by all the music or the bass, and you may be struggling to hear what's happening in the center channel. So if you build a speaker by a speaker, as you go type thing, make sure that the things that you really kind of focus on is the center channel, followed by the sub. I think those are key for your listening experience. Sometimes people focus more on the other speakers and get a cheap center channel. In my experience, it really needs to be the reverse. If not, just have everything collectively from the same series of signature that you're using. The dialogue on this speaker that I have is fantastic. So this one I got a couple months back, and it was a clearance item. When that was new, I think it listed for about $500, and then it would be sold for $349 to somewhere in the neighborhood of $399. Well, I got it on sale because they were clearancing them out. So if your budget is maybe say $100, $150, maybe it's just $100. Let's go with $100 for a center channel. Look for the very best center channel that you can find. And it doesn't have to be new. Don't be afraid to buy pre-owned or a previous generation speaker. Because that center, like I say, is so critical. You don't want your dialogue drowned out by music from the other four speakers or the backgrounds, things like that. You want that dialogue and the voices to be crisp, clear. You know what's happening 100%, and it sounds fantastic. The center channels are so critical, and that's one reason why you see a lot of these sound bars that are out there. It's a center channel with a subwoofer. And some of those sound bars, of course, have varying degrees of quality, as most things on the market do. You get what you kind of pay for, but some of them are very good. Some of them, well, they just need to stop making them, in my opinion. But they sound great. Like if you listen to them, you may be listening to them in a 3 feet away from the speaker or 3 feet away from the TV, and they sound fantastic. The struggle that I have found with center speakers is when you start to back up from them. So for example, I'll show you mine. All right, so there's my speaker, and then this is typically where we'll sit, right over here. And so that's a good 8 to 9 feet away. That sound can, be drowned out rather easily. It's not going to sound quite as good as when you're really close up to it, like 3 feet away, which most people are that close when they're listening to them at the stores. Maybe they're 4 feet. But it's after that 4 foot range, that's where you can kind of see where the true difference of a better center channel speaker makes a difference. or when you start to add other speakers to that center channel and expand your speaker range, whether it's a 5.1 setup, 7, 8, 9, whatever, 8, 9 or whatever it may be. So like I say, if you have $100, let's say that's your limit, if you're building your own system and $100 is all you have for a center channel speaker, don't necessarily buy a new one. Look for a clearanced one or a pre-owned one. So the one I got, like I said, was originally listed for $500. They'd sell it for about $349 to $399 in the stores. They had come out with a new series, and so this one got discontinued. And I picked it up brand new for $149. So that $149 price is still better than any $100 new speaker that I could find on the market, or even $150 speaker, because it was a higher tier speaker to begin with. So again, don't be afraid to look at open box, pre-owned, stuff like that. It will add so much more. Some people are so, it will add so much more to your listening experience. A lot of people look at that stuff and they say, I have to have it. It's got to be new. The box has to be pristine. Don't get caught up in that. You can find fantastic things online. You just got to do your research. Go to the stores. Ask maybe some of the audio guys, hey, when does the new stuff come out? When is this type of stuff get replaced? Does Klipsch or Polk or Martin Logan, when do they generally introduce or announce the newer model stuff? And that may be a good time to say to yourself, okay, I'm going to buy at this time because these will be on clearance, or Black Friday special or something like that. Anyway, it's a brief video, I know, and I'm sure a lot of you already know this type of stuff. Also, if you have one of these satellite systems, a system in a box, don't be discouraged by some people saying, oh, you should never buy those systems, you wasted $400, $500. That's not always true. Okay, that's what you can afford. Great. And then as you can get more money, you can replace the speakers that you want to replace. If they work great for you, if you have a small apartment or something like that, that may be all you need. Bose has done a fantastic job on marketing their little tiny speakers, those little satellite speakers, and they sold a ton of them. So, don't be so discouraged. But if you get that, and then as your budget increases, or as you decide, you know what, I want a little bit more, just replace them when you can. So if you've already spent money on a box system, don't be frustrated with it, okay? But if you're starting from scratch, that's my advice, is to look for a good center, look for a good sub, and go from there. Receivers, everyone kind of has their own preference of receivers. I have a Denon. Other people have Onkyo or Onkyo, Yamaha. They all make good stuff. I mean, you're really not going wrong with either one, any of those. I'm sure each one will have they have different price ranges, of course. They have different categories, so they'll have their kind of budget, which is $200 to $350 range, and they'll have their mid-tier, which is $450 to maybe $700. So just kind of look for the best one in that tier. So if it's a budget one and you find, hey, the Denon and the Yamaha seem to be equally competitive, and it's more personal preference than anything, well, go with one of those over one that may not be as competitive. But again, that's just, you work with your budget, but again, focus on that center channel and just get the best you can for the money that you have. Take care, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Talk to you later. Bye.